Welcome back to TLDR's daily briefing for Wednesday, the 9th of April 2025. In today's episode, we cover China's new retaliatory tariffs, the EU's retaliatory tariffs, and Germany's new coalition government. But first, a UK-EU rapprochement. In the last few days, there's been a lot of discussion around Trump's tariffs. Here in the UK, discussion has been centred around exactly what the government should do in order to mitigate the worst effects of the tariffs. Some commentators have suggested that Starmer should continue his approach of cozying up to the president, and that, if he does, there's a decent chance Starmer will be able to negotiate some sort of economic deal that would see Trump either reduce or completely drop the tariffs on the UK. Others have suggested that now is the time for Starmer to show his mettle and to introduce retaliatory tariffs. Wanting to make clear that this is still an option, the Prime Minister said that all options are on the table, and that he would only strike a deal if it's right for British business and the security of working people. On the other side of things, though, it appears that Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves, is seeing this as an opportunity to improve the UK's trading relationship with the EU. In an interview with the Financial Times, Reeves explained that she is pushing to pursue an economic agenda in EU-UK reset talks. Specifically, she said that an upcoming summit between the UK and EU on the 19th of May will be a chance to refresh our relationship and make it easier for businesses to trade. From the UK side, the most important aspects of the trade deal are closer defence cooperation, removal of barriers to food trade, and mutual recognition of qualifications. If these do make part of the deal, then this would represent a significant development of the UK's relationship with the EU, and one that could really benefit both parties, given Trump's tariff frenzy last week. You're listening to TLDR's daily briefing. If you want more explainers on what's happening in the world, then you should check out TLDR's other channels. Today, we released videos on why America's economic crisis is worse than it looks, and whether the EU can win Trump's trade war, as well as an episode of our podcast, The World Leader Leaderboard. You can find those videos linked in the description or show notes for this episode, or by searching for TLDR on YouTube or Nebula. In a dramatic escalation of the global trade war, China has raised its retaliatory tariff on the United States to 84%, matching the additional 50% tariff that US President Donald Trump announced earlier this week, taking the US's tariffs on Chinese imports up to 104%. China's 84% tariff will go into effect on Thursday, as will the US's 104% tariff. Announcing the increase, China's Commerce Ministry said, if the US insists on further escalating its economic and trade restrictions, China has the firm will and abundant means to take necessary countermeasures and fight to the end. The escalating trade war between the world's two largest economies has intensified market turmoil and pushed down commodity prices. For example, oil prices fell to a 4-year low today amid anticipation of weaker global demand, and global coffee and cocoa prices also hit new multi-month lows. Meanwhile, US Treasuries, typically considered one of the safest assets, have seen further heavy losses, pushing up borrowing costs. JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon said today that he sees a US recession a likely outcome. Make sure to keep an eye on the TLDR Global channel for our coverage of the tumultuous economic goings-on. In related news, EU member states have approved the Union's first retaliatory measures in response to Trump's global trade war. The approved tariffs of between 10 and 25% will be applied to imports of US goods, including soybeans, chicken, and motorbikes, and will take effect across 3 stages between April the 15th and December the 1st. These measures are in response to Trump's 25% tariff on EU steel and aluminium. As for his flat tariffs, announced on so-called Liberation Day, the European Commission will propose further countermeasures early next week. In other news, after weeks of negotiations, Germany's conservative CDU-CSU bloc has agreed a coalition deal with the centre-left Social Democrats, or SPD. The deal will see the February election winner, Friedrich Merz, become Chancellor as expected, returning the chancellorship to the CDU/CSU after the relatively brief 3-year term of SPD Chancellor Olaf Scholz. At the time of writing, we don't have the full details of the agreement. However, according to Der Spiegel, the SPD, as the junior partner, has been allocated 7 out of 17 ministries, including finance, defence, justice, and the environment, while the CDU/CSU will fill the majority of positions, including the chancellorship, economic affairs, the foreign office, interior, and education. The SPD's membership will need to ratify the agreement before the government can actually form, with Merz expected to be sworn in next month. It comes at a crucial time for Germany, with a whole host of domestic and global challenges, not least the escalating global trade war sparked by US President Donald Trump, which Germany's outgoing finance minister has warned could spark a recession. That's all for today. We'll be back with you tomorrow, so make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen. In the meantime, you can check out the latest episode of our podcast, The World Leader Leaderboard, where we discuss which heads of government are doing well and who's doing badly every week. You can find the link in the podcast description. This was a TLDR news production hosted by Georgina Findlay, written by Ben Blissett and Rory Taylor, and produced by Scarlett Watchorn. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back again tomorrow.